Hello and welcome. Today we've got something simple for you. So sit down, take a around, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to a special and new 101 class. The votes are in. You guys all voted on what you wanted to see, and I'm here to make sure you see it. So today, along with a new prop here, the whiteboard, it is time for a Deadpool 101. So sit down, stick around, and enjoy. So we're going to do this class with a, different kind of MO, if you will. Since I used to do teaching before in one of my previous employments, I decided to go with the whiteboard and see how that works out. So Deadpool 101 is the class. Let's start with the basics. Deadpool first appeared in New Mutants number 98, which came out in 1991. In the beginning, Deadpool was just pretty much a character sent in by Mr. Tolliver in order to kill Cable. He had a very small appearance in New Mutants 98. He first appeared in there, and so did Domino. So he shows up, tries to kill Cable. He's basically an assassin type character who loves to talk. If you can compare him to somebody, take it as if you would make a perfect hybrid of the Punisher and Spider-Man. He's kind of the anti-hero like Punisher, but he has the mouth of Spider-Man, who loves to joke and loves to taunt people. So he's kind of like that, I guess. He was created by writer Fabian Nicieza and artist Rob Liefeld. What initially began as Deadpool. Rob Liefeld, who, for those of you who don't know, he actually, and I have to throw this in here, he drew one of the most horrendous Captain America's pictures in the history of comic books. One of my friends always laughs at the picture, and he asked me, Kevin, if you do Deadpool 101, you have to put this in there. So I said, okay, I'll put a picture up of it just so people can see it. Captain America with a huge bust. Huge bust. The guy pretty well puts any huge busted celebrity to shame. Seriously. Like, he could easily be in adult films with a bust that big. So, very horrible picture, but not all of Rob Liefeld's work is actually horrible. New Mutants 98 is actually well drawn. A few other stuff is well drawn too. But let's get back to the character here. In the beginning, Liefeld was a fan of Teen Titans. So what he did, he pretty much brought a character here into, and you see as I looked at it, it's like, this character here, this is Deathstroke from DC. This is pretty much Deathstroke, but you just like changed the outfit. Because the similarities between Deadpool and Deathstroke are very captivating. Now, there's no way that Rob Liefeld did this without actually knowing that he was copying it. Because the costumes are similar, not the same color, but similar. The names, as we all know, Deadpool's name is Wade Wilson. Deathstroke's name is Slade Wilson. So even that's the same. So what they decided to do when he actually said, okay, I'm going to introduce this character in the comics, he had him drawn out, Deadpool, red and black, typical Deadpool, is Nicieza said, okay, we'll bring him in and we'll kind of make him talk a lot. Make him talk a lot and be really annoying. It's kind of like a stab at DC. We'll bring him in, we'll be like, oh no, let's have this guy, let's have him talk a lot, and basically let's get people annoyed with the character. And it'll kind of be, a slam against DC Comics at the same time, with their Deathstroke character. What happens subsequently is they realize, hey, this character works. So why don't we give him a backstory? Which is where you get really an origin of Deadpool. So Deadpool, in an origin, is actually a individual, an army brat. You know, money and all that stuff. Not a poor person by any means. He has cancer, and he wants to get rid of his cancer because he's terminally ill. So he enlists in the Weapon X program. Now, Weapon X is what you all know, like Wolverine was built in the Weapon X program, which is Weapon 10. So what happened is Wade Wilson went in, and he was supposed to be Weapon 11, X1. What happened subsequently is that he was given the regeneration DNA, the regeneration factor, the healing factor from Wolverine. He was given a synthetic version of it to test it. Subsequently, what happened is it did cure his cancer, but it kind of reacted with the rest of him and pretty much mutilated him. So he's very disfigured. Deadpool is seriously disfigured, and that's why he wears a mask. Probably because he feels shy about the fact that he looks like hamburger face. So, yeah, so pretty much that's why he basically went into mercenary work. Figured couldn't really do much more. He is trained in martial arts, trained in various combat styles. He likes money, so he decided to go and freelance, pretty much. He worked for a lot of different people. He worked for Mr. Tulliver, he worked for the Kingpin, he worked for a whole bunch of different people at different points in his career. He's an assassin for hire, he's the Merc with a mouth. He's all of that. He's a very interesting character in the sense of his name. The name Deadpool, for those of you who don't know, it's actually from after the whole Weapon X thing, after he failed as an assassin. In the beginnings, what he did is they put him in a special prison type environment where all the cons and all the people in there, all the rejects from the Weapon X experiments and other programs were put into. There was kind of a, well, the way it worked there is that people would kill each other. Kind of like, I don't know if you want to call it a Running Man type thing, or for those of you seen the Steve Austin's movie, The Condemned, you know, something to that effect. But it's more like a gladiator type thing where they would fight, and it was called the Deadpool. Okay, just drop my cover. It was called the Deadpool, and since he was the leads there with like, I think it was like 1,000-to-1 odds for him dying because he was so good at what he did, he was basically the leader of the Deadpool, Pool of the Dead, and so yeah. He was the leader of the Deadpool. He had the highest odds, so they started calling him Deadpool. That's the name he took. The actual name of this prison-esque type place, just for you know, it's Dr. Kilbrew's, if I remember correctly, workshop. So Dr. Kilbrew's workshop is where Deadpool basically became Deadpool. Deadpool started to grow very popular in the mid-90s. And the reason why is because he was kind of what they call the anti-hero. And anti-hero really started picking up during that time, the against establishment. And I think one of the major driving factors of this, and some people may say it's not true, I definitely think this is probably one of the top driving factors, was due to the whole, believe it or not, the wrestling scene at the time. Wrestling scene at the time when you had the WWF going, we had Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was probably one of the biggest pulp culture anti-heroes in that era, for sure. And they started noticing that the kids and the young persons and the teens and all that love the idea of somebody basically flipping off the world and marching to the beat of his own drum. Yet not necessarily a villain, but still a good guy, but a good guy that doesn't take shit. So they decided, hey, well, Deadpool, he's like that. You know, let's push this guy. So he got limited series, he got his own ongoing series, and then it became Deadpool and Cable, that ongoing series as well. So he's really done well for himself, I guess. Good old Wade Wilson has done well. For a Canadian, yes, my boy is a Canadian. Just like me, just like Wolverine, just like Captain Canuck. Canadian. So, yeah, I had to throw that in there. So basically Wade is kind of a hero in Canada here, I guess. What really spawned a lot of interest in a character was naturally the movie X-Men Origins, Wolverine. X-Men Origins, Wolvie. That basically had a lot of people took to the Deadpool in that his origin of that is kind of convoluted, not exactly what it is in the comic books, as you've heard about what I've said so far. Nothing like that actually happens in a movie. And he actually takes a lot of everybody's different powers in the movie. That's not how it works. The only power he has is the regeneration factor. And other than the fact that he's a very skilled assassin, which he learned on his own, he doesn't have any super mutant abilities. Unless you call having your face melted down superhuman abilities. The ability to frighten people. But other than that, no. Believe it or not, Deadpool does have some friends, which include probably his most notable friend and weapon supplier, Weasel. Yes, the Merc with the mouth does have some friends. Another thing that Deadpool does too in the comic books, and it's actually been revealed he'll probably do this in his own movie, is that he actually breaks what's called or referred to as the fourth wall, which is the wall in comic books between the reader and the character. He's actually conscious of being in a comic book. Kind of, sort of, I guess. He'll make references to real things that are really happening, or to the fact that he's in a comic book, or, check on page this and that of this issue. He's basically breaking the fourth wall, basically the candidness that, you're reading a story, but he actually knows he's in a story type thing. So he actually breaks that fourth wall, which is kind of cool. He'll oftenly turn and speak to you directly, like to the audience. He's talking to you in the book, not to the other characters in the book, but he's actually saying something particular to you, reading him, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's different. It's actually been said that in the movie, in the offshoot Deadpool of his own Origins movie, that he would actually break the fourth wall there too and address the audience directly, which would be kind of cool. I mean, because he does it fairly often, so it'd be kind of nice to see. So let's just go ahead and recap here. The man, the Merc with the mouth, that is Deadpool. Deadpool, originally created by Liefeld as a mockery of Slade Wilson, who is Deathstroke in DC. Named Wade Wilson to mock Slade Wilson. First appeared New Mutants number 98. He was part of Weapon X, which is Weapon 11 in his case, where he was given the regenerative factor of Wolverine, which onset his cancer, disfiguring his face, but ultimately healing him from the cancer. His name was given at Dr. Kilbrew's workshop, where he was leader of what was called the Deadpool. He was the #1 odds-on favorite not to get killed. He is Canadian. He has some friends, including Weasel, who is his weapon supplier. He is first and foremost a anti-hero, which means he is not really necessarily a good guy, but he's kind of a good guy gone bad. He started off as a villain until they actually knew what the hell to do with him. Then he kind of tweens. He tweens in between, I guess. He does some bad stuff, he does some good stuff. He's basically out to look out for himself and doesn't really care about whatever else happens. If he has to double-cross a hero, or he has to double-cross a villain, he'll do either. He just really has no loyalty except to himself. Possibly an influence of the WWF-style programming, Stone Cold Steve Austin, anti-hero era, NWO as well, where the bad guys were seen as the good guys, and a lot of modern culture. Because if you look, it was actually 1997 when Deadpool got the ongoing series, which actually corresponds to the year of the anti-hero of Stone Cold Steve Austin. So maybe it has to do one with the other, maybe not. If you'd like to comment about that in this video, please, feel free. He was brought into more of a mainstream in X-Men Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine, naturally, because people actually got a chance to kind of see him, but not really the way he usually is, except for the fact that he talked a bit, which is kind of what he does best. other than killing, he likes to talk. And likes to try to be funny. Like Spider-Man, but with a Punisher attitude. Speaking of which, actually, Marvel hinted in the last issue of Amazing Spider-Man 599, at the end in the whole, when you write them questions and they answer, somebody wrote a question about, do you think Deadpool and Spider-Man will meet? And he said, I don't know if they'll actually meet ever again in October. So it's looking like Spider-Man and Deadpool's paths are going to cross this October, which will be kind of a cool read. And actually, last and certainly not least, he breaks the fourth wall, which is he is kind of self-aware that he is in a comic book and makes references to that and talks actually to us, the readers, which is kind of neat. And actually, should write this in here. He is the Merc with a mouth. That he is. So that's it for my Deadpool 101. Naturally, I didn't cover everything because I try to keep the videos a little shorter. Maybe Deadpool 102 someday, who knows. So leave a comment, talk to me, tell me what you think. Till next time, guys. Later.